Bears hibernate in mid-autumn or early winter. The winter hibernation of bears is directly related to the weather and ambient temperature. Therefore, it is difficult to name an exact month when bears hibernate. Usually, it happens with the formation of permanent snow cover and when the temperature stably stays below zero. Before such weather conditions occur, bears simply wander around their territory. Bears hibernate to wait out the harsh, hungry winter. After all, the diet of these animals is based on plant food, which with the onset of the cold winter is very difficult to find. Therefore, in summer bears fatten up properly and accumulate fat to survive the winter in hibernation. The bear prepares for hibernation by eating heavily and storing nutrients in the form of subcutaneous fat. In hibernation, the bear hibernates in a den that it prepares to spend the harsh winter in comfortably. Before hibernation, the bear makes a den in a secluded, inaccessible place, usually under fallen trees or in root holes. Occasionally, bears may occupy caves and rock gorges. Occasionally, the animal may dig a shelter directly in the ground. Once a bear has found a good place to hibernate, it often returns there year after year. The hibernation time of bears varies from a few months to 6 months. It mostly depends on climatic conditions. In southern areas, where winters with little snow are prevalent, bears may not hibernate at all, but they still accumulate fat reserves, because the food supply decreases significantly during the winter. Bears sleep in different positions, some of them are comfortable on their sides, while others lie on their backs. Usually bears sleep one at a time. The exception is the bears with cubs, they hibernate together. With the coming of spring, the older cubs come out of the den with their mother. By the way, cubs and female bears live much longer in dens than single bears. Older males stay in the dens the least. The hibernation of the brown bear is not too deep. In case of danger, the animal will wake up and leave the den, having gone to look for a safer place. Sometimes bears don't have time to accumulate fat reserves before hibernation, then they may wake up in the middle of the winter, or they won't go to bed at all, but wander in search of food. Such bears are called crank bears and they are very dangerous, because hunger makes them ruthless predators that will even attack humans. Most often, such bears do not survive until spring due to lack of food. A bear's metabolic rate in winter is much lower than that of hedgehogs, whose body temperature sinks from 33 degrees Celsius to 2 degrees Celsius during hibernation. In hibernation, the bear's body temperature is reduced on average from 37 degrees Celsius to 31 degrees Celsius, which is why it recovers quickly and easily after awakening. Sometimes, even during hibernation, the animal's body temperature reaches normal values. When sleeping, the body feeds on the fat reserves accumulated the day before. Some species spend part of their pregnancy in hibernation, in which case births occur immediately after coming out of hibernation. For example, polar bears do not hibernate every year, and they only hibernate for a few months. Most often it is done by pregnant females. The polar bear makes its hibernation on the mainland or islands. In addition to the brown bear, the Himalayan bear also hibernates, but it prefers to den at an altitude, in the hollows of old trees. However, not all bear species hibernate. For example, the giant panda does not sleep at all. Winter hibernation occurs not only in bears, but also in other mammals, such as the badger. By the way, it is the only member of the family of Fanidae that hibernates in winter. For example, a stoat of the same family does not go to sleep in winter. Many species of rodents, insectivores, some species of bats, frogs and others also hibernate. Hibernation in animals is of 3 types: diurnal, hummingbirds and bats; seasonal, mammals, rodents and insectivores. Irregular usually occurs with the sudden onset of adverse conditions. By the way, regarding seasonal hibernation, it is not only winter hibernation, but also summer hibernation. Such hibernation is characteristic of animals living in deserts, and occurs during particularly arid periods. Funny opinion that the bear sucks his paw was formed for a reason. Only in fact, the bear licks its paws in its sleep. But it does it not from hunger, but because during winter hibernation the skin on the bear's paws is renewed and peeling, and it simply reacts to the itching caused by this process. After hibernation, the bear is thin and hungry. During hibernation, bears lose all their accumulated fat reserves. They wake up from feelings of hunger and the onset of spring warmth. The bears coming out of hibernation is closely related to the climate. Where warmth comes early, the bear wakes up from the first days of spring, and somewhere it doesn't come out of the den until mid-April.